Hi, Bill Bestie. So this is part 2 of my January wrap-up. Hopefully I can finish this in this part. If not, I'm going to have to do a part 3. There are spoilers, and I'm going to be telling you about each of the 5 physical books that I read in the month of January. There are spoilers. Again, this one was gifted to me by my mom, and she kept bugging me because she found it amazing. And it's a thriller, and it's Ask for Andrea by Noelle W. Ely or Eiley. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Look at the cute cover. And I love this book. I'm normally not used to thrillers, but I love this book. It was an amazing, different kind of reading experience. We get to see 3 points of views and see what these 3 spirits of women thought, felt, and what they went through after being unalived by the same serial unaliver. And this happened in 3 different timelines, and then later on they do meet together in the same timeline. One went to her mother, and she's just trying to talk to her, trying to get her to listen. She's upset, she don't know what to do, and then she's trying to get them to find her until a detective does find her, and they're trying to find out what happens. They found out the guy's name and the car and his address. The other one was in front of her house, and she decided to follow him. Her spirit decided to follow him to his house where he had a wife and 2 daughters, and she stood there just seeing what he did, trying to stop him, and even trying to do stuff where she even ruined the signal of his computer so he wouldn't be able to go more onto the dating sites to meet any more women. And then the other one just stood where she was unalived, just waiting for someone to find her. And finally a detective find her, which that's the detective that was able to completely identify him and go to the length of getting even an arrest warrant to try and get him caught, where he then runs to this cabin, and that's where the 3 girls decide to try anything in their power to try and stop him, because he decides that he wants to try and unalive his wife and 2 daughters, which they found out just because I guess he thought they were a liability since he was trying to run away from the cops. And somehow they succeed in protecting them. The wife goes into a restaurant, calls the waitress, and the waitress ends up calling the cops. They end up catching him, and they end up making him pay for all 3 of the unalivings, which was amazing. This book was amazing. Amazing new experience. You won't regret. I picked it up and I couldn't put it down. Amazing read. You guys gotta go check it out. The other one is Crash by Kathy Lockhart. I love the cover. I love this book. I started reading it and I couldn't put it down either. It was amazing. And it follows the story of Blake and Tessa. They knew each other from young because he was or is her brother's best friend. And her brother and him and 2 other guys are actually like in this kind of like a group of friends that they have, and they kind of liked each other, and they drifted apart because he thought he didn't deserve her, and she went through a little bit of a rough patch. It's a little bit of dark romance, and it has spice. And then she's suffering from like this mysterious illness for like about a year. She meets someone, I guess it was a client, and she passes out. They take her to an ER where he happens to work as a doctor of that hospital, and he ends up being one of the doctors to check her. He walks away to talk to another patient. Then they page him because her heart stopped, and he's trying to bring her back, which he does successfully. But then he decided that he wanted to figure out where her sickness was coming from and what was wrong with her at all costs. Even took her to live with him to keep her safe while he figured out what was going on with her. The way this man obsessively looks for what she has to try and save her life so bad because he's not willing to lose her at all. And then they end up admitting their feelings for each other and finding out what happened in their past. He did unalive someone, one of their foster parents, to save his sister. And the way that he's willing to go through any length for this woman is, wow, amazing. I loved it. And then his group of friends too, you see a little bit of what they're willing to do just to help a friend keep whoever he loves safe at all costs, no matter the cost, even if it's illegally, which was amazing. Amazing book. It again, Crash, and this is the first book in a series, the Sinners and Saints series. You gotta go check it out. Love this book. Amazing book. The next one is The Chase by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the Briar You series, and it follows the story of Summer and Fitz. You do hear about them in her other series, the Off Campus series, which was an amazing series. I love that series, so I started reading this one. I love this one. It was a good story. It has spice. It has bickering, arguing, and it was an amazing story. I can't wait to read the other ones in the same series to then get to the other series to get ready for her new book, which is also with characters from that are mentioned in previous books, which amazing. I love books like that. I love this book, the way that they bicker because they like each other but they're not willing to admit it just yet. For him, it was more that he's not a very social person. He doesn't like that to be the center of attention, to have issues or problems. And she's more outgoing. She doesn't care. She defends those that she loves, and she's willing to do anything. And he's just nervous because of what happened in the past with his parents and being the center of attention or going to courts and him going through like a tough situation. And then he ends up doing what he least likes, which is to be the center of attention, looking for an issue, for an argument and problems. Actually, twice for her, but once was to defend her because this idiot just started trashing her in front of him. And he was even willing to risk the job they were offering him just to defend her because he loved her. And it was just an amazing story. And you guys gotta read it. I love her writing. I love her books. Check her out. The next one is Twisted Love by Anna Huang, and it follows Ava and Alex. Ava's a photographer. He's a rich CEO. Also a little bit of dark romance. Has some spice. You see what's going on. Like, he at first got close to them and became her brother's best friend because he's trying to ruin their dad, because he thinks that their dad sent his family to be unalived. But then, like, he took forever in trying to ruining his life because he got attached to them, and then he ends up falling for her, and he's just focusing on her and keeping her safe and protecting her. And then when you find out that her dad is not really her dad, and he actually tried to unalive her before, and he doesn't like her, and he tried to like ruin her a few times, and he finds out, and he's willing to go to the length of ruining him instantly just for her, to make sure that she's forever saved and not go through that heartache again. And then when he finds out that his uncle is actually the one that sent his family to be unalive, and he's trying to like figure out a way to get his revenge, but then he ends up kidnapping her and even like threatening to unalive her. The way that he does, he did say the whole truth in front of her, which made the relationship kind of like phase out a little bit. And he even unalived his uncle more because he touched her, like hit her and tried to kill her. And then he also unalived him because of his family, but mainly for her. The length that he's willing to go for her, and in the way that he even quit his job for a whole year to be with her, waiting for her day and night to forgive him. The length that he's willing to go for her love, it was just amazing. Amazing book. I love this book. I know there's mixed reviews, but for me personally, amazing. You guys gotta read it. Now can't wait to see the other ones in the series. Now I gotta do a part 3 for the last book I read. See you there.